in Baltimore, and I hope you're enjoying Leon. Easy door. Everybody's traveling. I feel you, Isadora. I'm not gonna be able to see my family until next year, I guess. Now I've run out of time. That's close enough. Oh, speaking of Christmas movies, I finally watched that Klaus movie on Netflix. I liked it. I thought it was okay. As far as the story, it was like it was fine. But as far as like animation and the way it looked, it was beautiful. I don't know that I would 100% be able to enjoy animation, or rather, know what to look for in animation, had I not made so many friends who are visual artists over the last, let's like 5 years. I think I used to kind of just watch movies. I'm trying to have a better, trying to have a better eye and ear, I guess, when watching things. I'm trying to really watch things and understand what's going into what I'm watching. Obviously, I'm a musician, and even with me being a musician, I I lack so much knowledge theoretically about music. So, say something that somebody else hears in a song, and they're like, "Ooh, that was a really cool. I don't know. He went from this mode to that mode, or he went from this key to that key. Wow!" Or I can't believe she did this type of arrangement. That's weird. Nobody does that. How challenging and brave. I don't hear those things necessarily. I mean, I hear them, but not with the contextual knowledge that would allow me to be impressed at all times by things like that. Um, but I know more about music than the casual person. Maybe more about music than the average person who comes into my stream or comments on my YouTube videos or my Instagram videos or even consumes my music. I know more about music than most of these people. And so when I'm listening to a song, sometimes I know what to listen for to be impressed or disappointed, you know. I have names for these things, or I know what to look for. I think I watch, because I started watching Miss Maisel. I'm all caught up now, but I looked at a video on the marvelous Miss Maisel, and the person who lights it, like the person who, I don't know what their job title is, lighting director. I don't know, but it was his job to light all the scenes, and I really was able to look at a scene and see how much work really went into it, not just in the set design and costume design and the writing and the acting. I was able to also see this extra layer, which is just the lighting, how well these shots have to be lit to elicit specific emotions, or so that you can see certain things, so that shadows aren't casted on actors' faces. I think I take for granted that in real life there's constantly shadows cast on people's faces. But when you're looking at a movie, it very rarely happens unless they want it to happen. There has to be a function and a reason, a purpose behind everything. Saying that to say that I've been trying to be aware of all of the different facets that comes through lighting. Moonlight was really good for that reason, Lindsay. But yeah, I've been trying to be a little bit more aware. I guess is the right word. So I used to watch, I don't know, anime or a cartoon or a Pixar film or something like that, and I would think to myself, this is not for me. This is for a child, and sometimes it can impede my ability to enjoy it because of all of the cheesiness that comes with a Pixar film. Oh, it's a talking raccoon. Oh, the raccoon needs to collect garbage before Christmas. I don't know. That sounds like something that would be a Pixar film. And then I'm sorry about the garbage truck outside, guys. It's gonna be beeping for a while now. But once I'm able to look past the very surface level story, where I'm like, oh, okay, yes, it's about a raccoon. But look at that raccoon. Isn't it really well animated? Think about this scene. Isn't this really well done? Or I'm hearing a score and I'm like, oh my god, that's so amazing that they took that part from the intro of the movie and they're playing it now to reintroduce some theme that, there's a lot there's a lot to dissect in every piece of art, even if it is just a song. Movies are out of this world, right? Because there's things like animation, acting, writing, plotting, color correction, or set design. There's a lot to think about in those films. But you can do the same thing for a song. And since music is like where I come from, it's a lot easier for me to do things. It's a lot easier for me to identify things in music. Um, there's a YouTuber by the name of Adam Neely who tears apart a lot of music stuff. He's like a music man, right? He's like your typical. I went to jazz music school in New York City, and now I'm like basically a music scientist. And a lot of his music, while fun and cool, and a lot of his videos, while fun and cool, they can be very enlightening and educational. But most of them don't really appeal to me because it's a lot about the analysis of music, and that's something that doesn't particularly interest me when it comes to like a theoretical standpoint. While it can be fun, it's just not something that I seek out on the internet. But something that's interesting about Adam Neely is he obviously spends a lot of time making and analyzing music with a lot of core resources that come from going to a music school, especially a very, very advanced one. And I was thinking, well, you can kind of take anything. You can kind of take anything, whether it's a pop song or a very simple song, and you can tear it down into its basic elements and be astonished at what's happening. And something that's interesting is since I don't know music theory, um, I'm sure somebody could take a chord progression that I've made, like vanilla. I'm sure somebody could take vanilla and like tell me what I'm doing, because I have no idea what I'm doing, and I'm sure there's a lot of names for a lot of the things that are happening in it. something happening in there. I'm sure there's a lot of things happening in there. To me, they're just a lot of idle chords that sounded pretty together. But I don't know what key it's in. I don't know what the name of most of these chords are I'm playing. I don't. I simply do not know. Something really interesting, though, is there are a lot of people over the years who have come into streams. I'm sure you've seen a lot of them. Um, I'm sure you've seen a lot of them. They come into the stream and they say, Omni, I'm 12. Is it too late? Omni, I'm 9 years old. Is it too late for me to learn music? Has the ship sailed? Hi, Marlon. They'll say something like that. Something along those lines. Yeah, I'm exaggerating for comedic effect, but some people have said some pretty wild things like that. Like, a kid was like 16, and it's like, is it too late for me to start learning how to read, write, and make music? Will I ever be as great as Jacob Collier? Is it Collier or is it Collier? I'm gonna keep saying Collier until somebody tells me otherwise. But yeah, I think it's never too late. For me, I'm fortunate in that I've been playing piano for a pretty long time, just out of boredom. Now I have a music on how to write and read music, right? Just because I got bored and I was like, I wonder what's going on in this music theory book. Does that mean I have any music theory? Not really. I only started reading it maybe a couple of days ago, maybe a week ago. Hmm. But I don't have classical training, but I do have a lot of experience messing around with and understanding a piano or a keyboard and really understanding, to me, what notes sound good together, what are kind of good spacings. Like, obviously, if you're building a chord, there are certain spacings that just work, and I'm sure there is musical, theoretical knowledge and terms for that, you know. This is why this sounds good. This is why this sounds good. This is why this sounds good. This is why that sounds good. There's reasons for that stuff. Hello, Alpha. But I'm learning that stuff very late, right? I'm learning that stuff very late in my music career, in my music life. I've been playing keyboard and bass guitar and all that stuff for years and years and years, and only now am I looking at the 4 or 5 lines, however many lines it is with all the dots on them, and I'm going, okay, what is this? What does any of this mean? But so I had maybe a head start, maybe than somebody that would be 40 or 30 or 25 or 20 even right now, and they're just starting everything fresh. Like, they don't know anything, and they're like, you know what, I'm diving in. I got a guitar, I'm taking lessons, I want to learn how to be a music maker. Somebody say, who are my hoodie tastes? I don't know what that means. I don't know how to answer that question. But so I have a little bit of a head start that way. I have a head start that way. But I think that it's never really too late to start learning, because I think a lot of people will underestimate, especially if you enjoy learning something. I think that, unfortunately, I feel like a lot of people I know and friends of mine, happy holidays, party man, a lot of friends of mine have this kind of mentality that if they try something and they are not as good as the person who inspired them to do it in X amount of days, weeks, months, years, then it's not worth trying, right? Like, if you're somebody that really likes Thundercat and you're like, ooh, I love this music, I want to be able to make music like Thundercat, and then you make music for 3 years and you still don't sound like Thundercat, it's probably a little bit discouraging. I think that I didn't necessarily get into music because I wanted to sound like anybody. I was simply bored, and it was kind of like a good pastime or a hobby, kind of like playing video games or reading. I've said this all the time in several streams. But perhaps if you have like a very finite and physical goal, somebody asked what I'm doing for Christmas, probably streaming. But if you have a very finite and physical goal and you're not hitting it, it can be disappointing. Um, in the same way that if in the same way that if somebody was like learning how to skateboard, but they were only learning how to skateboard because they wanted to do a varial, no matter how many tricks they do on their way to the varial, it's not going to be enough. It's not going to feel like a success. It's going to feel like nearing the goal but not hitting it. So I feel like you kind of have to enjoy doing it. I don't skate anymore, Alpha. You kind of have to enjoy doing what you're doing, right? You have to enjoy the process. I am enjoying the process. I don't know what kind of musician I'm going to be eventually, in 10 years or 20 years. But I'm having fun with the process. If you go and listen to Omniboy music that came out in 2015, it's different than it is now, right? Somebody just mentioned Spring Street, talking about a Christmas version of Spring Street. Spring Street is, we're almost in 2020, so it's almost 3 years old. It's a pretty old song. Would I write a song like Spring Street today? Absolutely not. It's hard for me to write music like that because that song is very old. It was written by a different version of myself. And so, that being said, it was part of the process. Is Spring Street my masterpiece, what I wanted to create? No, not really. Not even close. But it was on the way there, and I did enjoy making it. In the same way that I wouldn't enjoy making it today. Today I'm enjoying making, what's that song called? What's that song called? Double Lutz, that song. Like something like that. I wouldn't know how to do in my Spring Street writing phase. I wouldn't know how to take and play it here. It's a very small skill or improvement that I have gained in the past year or two. And so I'm enjoying the process, and I feel like too often I see people that aren't enjoying the process. People that want to make a song like Kate Renata are getting Ableton or Fruity Loops or whatever software, and they're fiddling around with it for weeks or months, and they're kind of just making noise. By their own standards, they're just making noise. Not very good music, and they're not enjoying the process. And I think the difference is I very much enjoyed the process of making noise. At one point, maybe I'm not enjoying it as much anymore, but there was a time where I would go and sit at my computer. I miss these times. I would go and I would sit at my computer, open up Fruity Loops, and I would fiddle and diddy around and doodle sonically for, I don't know, like 5-6 hours, just eating at my computer, hitting stuff, have the TV on, kind of looking over at the TV, and then like pausing it during commercials and just messing around with stuff, turning knobs, pushing faders, all that stuff, flipping switches, seeing what did what. And when I would leave the computer for the day, I had made nothing. There was no discernible songs. There was no save as this file. It was kind of just like me messing around. And I was very much enjoying myself. Oh, well, thank you for being here for an entire half of the stream, Lindsay. That's right, we're at the 30-minute mark. But thank you, Lindsay. I hope you enjoy the rest of your Tuesday. But yeah, I think it's I think sometimes people will lose sight. Like at the heart of it, you have to enjoy. You have to enjoy music. Hopefully, you enjoy it. You don't have to do anything, but I would like to think that you're enjoying it. I was talking to a DJ friend of mine. Oh, it's Christmas Eve. Jesus Christ. Anyways, I was talking to a DJ friend of mine yesterday night, last night, we were at a coffee shop, both like working side by side on our respective projects. And she said to me, well, she said a lot of things to me, but we were specifically talking about art and all that now is encompassed in art. Art is, and it's not a new thing. Art has always kind of been muddied by a lot of things. Like, what matters? Art, expression. Art is usually an expression. I'm going to only talk about it as an expression in this stream. We can talk about it in another context in another stream. But good morning, Brownstein. Art is an expression. If you've expressed yourself accurately, you have succeeded in whatever your artistic path is. I think that, unfortunately, art has been attached to a lot of other metrics, right? If you're a musician, it's not simply an expression of art. There's a lot of other things. There's skill. There's knowledge. Somebody that has theoretical knowledge of music can understand music better than me. Somebody that has better skill and piano can play piano better or more complicated pieces than I could, just because their hands and their fingers are more adept to do that. There is popularity, right? If somebody's music is very popular, they're probably making a little bit more money, or at the very least, being heard by more ears, being seen by more eyes. There's popularity, there's skill, there's knowledge, like we talked about. There's fame, there's respect, there's notoriety. All these things kind of are wrapped into an artist. And so a lot of them can be distracting from the expression part of it. If you're making a song and you've expressed yourself and you love the way the song sounds, that should, in an ideal world, be the beginning and end of it. I have succeeded and I've made a song that I really liked, but a lot of other things can distract from that success. A lot of other things, like maybe you uploaded it and it doesn't sound the way on SoundCloud or Spotify it did in your head when you were playing it in your room, and you're like, oh, it sounds so awful, I hate this. Now you're upset. You were very, very successful and satisfied and happy, but now another thing, like a third party, has come in and made you upset. Maybe you put it on SoundCloud and nobody listens to it. It has 5 plays and 4 of them are you. That can be upsetting because you feel like it deserves more. Maybe you didn't make any money from it. That can be upsetting. Maybe you didn't get to play it live. Maybe you messed up when you played it live. A lot of these other things can distract from what I would say is the core, crucial, most important thing, which is that you, the hypothetical artist, are happy with your art. When I made Love Letters, I loved that song. I still love that song. It very much speaks to a person I was at the time when I made it. Which is that I was like really trying to explore my jazzier techniques without actually digging into like jazz theory. I was just like, how can I make it sound like me but make it sound jazzy? And that was the way that I could do it. And when I released it, people from the stream loved that song. People still love Love Letters. Love Love Letters. People still like Love Letters. And then even when I took a sample of it and repurposed it for the song Let Lovers, which is that part, loops, people loved that too. And so I was seeing a mirror of myself and my audience and my fan base. I loved the song, and it was something I was proud of, and I was seeing other people like it and be proud of it as well. And so it like reinforced my love of the song. And in turn, it made me play it more in streams. So whether you've come to 200 streams or 2 streams, chances are you probably heard Love Letters at some point. Now, there's another song that I made called... Let me pick one that I also have a piano version of. I have a song called Close Down. the song, I loved it too. I was still just as proud of it as I was of Love Letters. I was just as proud of that as Love Letters. However, the public reaction to it was different than it was for Love Letters. People loved Love Letters. When I released Closed Down, there was a decided minority of people who really liked that song. But it wasn't nearly as big or as substantial, considerable as the love for the song Love Letters. I don't know why that is. I've stopped trying to understand why that is, but I was affected by it as much as I would like to have not been. As an artist, you would like to remain stoic and you would like to be kind of in a bubble where it doesn't matter what people think of your art. It's not going to affect what you think of your art. But most artists that I feel like are a little bit honest with themselves and the people around them can admit to have been swayed at one point by their audience or just the people around them, maybe their peers. And so this song is almost never played in the street. And if you asked anybody what song they attach to me as an artist, or which two, rather, they would attach to me as artists, most people are going to say they attach Love Letters to me because it's the song that they like more and it's the song that they hear more. It's a song that's more celebrated. While Closed Down, a song that I worked just as hard on and also even have vocals on, very few people have heard and very few people would say, Closed Down, the Omni Boy song. And so I was talking to my musician friend yesterday about how easy it is for your perception of your own art or your relationship with your own art to get warped by an audience or peers or just, let's say, outside forces. It's easy for that to happen. And something I've been very aware of going forward. Because whenever anybody says, Omni, what is your favorite song that you've ever created? That's a pretty common question. And my answer is always the same, and it's that I love all my songs equally. And if I didn't love it, I probably wouldn't release it. But there are inarguably songs that people hear more of. People hear a lot of Love Letters, people hear a lot of Spring Street, people hear a lot of mostly the things from Signals. People hear Union Station. And then people will hear the new tracks that I make in the stream. People hear songs like Double Lutz. People hear Over and Under. People hear Over the Pond. People hear a lot of those songs because reaction to them is favorable. I even play Vanilla occasionally in the stream because Lindsay really likes Vanilla. Somebody who was in the stream a little bit earlier. People don't like Vanilla as much, and Vanilla is actually very difficult for me to play most times because its chord progression is really weird. I never can actually make it all the way through that chord progression without messing up, so that was weird. But it's a weirder chord progression. People don't like it as much, but I play it mostly just for myself. Oh, well, thank you. Is it Manny? Is it Manny? I feel like I might have been calling you Max for a really long time. If so, I apologize for that. But yeah, those are tracks. That's something that a lot. Oh, it's Mañana. I remember you. How are you doing? Good, I hope. I hope nothing bad has happened to you. It is the holidays. I hope everything is going well in Manny World. But yeah, that's something that we were talking about, and I talk about it a lot. Um, Especially with like my artist friends out here in California, I'll talk to them about how there's this kind of pure love. I don't know what you want to call it. Love, I'll just say relationship. There's a very pure relationship I have with a lot of my work when I've made it and I've decided I'm finished with it. And sometimes it's sad. Releasing music is sad because I know that there is a pretty high probability that my relationship with this song is going to change. Sometimes very subtle, sometimes very dramatic change. My relationship with a song. Some very, very subtle changes would be a song like Bon Bon. When I made Bon Bon, I knew I had made a good song. I was very proud of it. And when I released it, people treated it almost with the same love and candor that I had for it, Bon Bon. Even though I never play that song anymore because, let's be real, the song's 5 years old. I don't make songs like that anymore. It feels even weird to play it. Even playing these chords, you ever play something or just see something you made a really long time ago and you're just like trying to put yourself in the shoes of that old, younger version of you, and it's bizarre. You're seeing all of your weird mistakes and your limited vision. Anyways, don't play it so much in streams anymore. But my relationship with Bon Bon was at first very, very accurate to, or very, very unchanged because it was similar to the public perception of Bon Bon. However, as time went by and I, as a musician, changed, and the people's opinion or relationship with Bon Bon no longer reflect mine, it dramatically changed my opinion of Bon Bon. There was a very long period of time where I actually did not like Bon Bon. I almost hated it because when I went to shows, that was the one song people wanted to hear. Once it was 6 months old, and then a year old, and then 2 years old, and then 3 years old, and then 4 years old, people still wanted to hear it. I'm probably going to do a stream tomorrow, Easy Door. Probably going to do a stream tomorrow. But people still wanted to hear it. And it made me weary of the track and no longer able to see it in that same like lovey, oh, I'm so proud of this thing way. And so sometimes after I make something, I really try to like zero in on the relationship I have with that song. And even later in time when it deteriorates or changes dramatically, I at least have the level-headedness to remember what the song once was to me. I can remember when the song Union Station. I can remember when that rhythm. Rhythm was very difficult for me to play, and so playing Union Station was so exciting because it was new, and I was always kind of worried that I was going to mess up. I was going to just ruin the song when I was playing live. That song existed on the goodbye Easy Door. Thank you for being in the stream. But that song existed kind of on the edge of my skill set. And so it at the time represented an apex of my ability. That was as hard as I could go. That was the apex of my ability. Maybe something that rhythmically, I feel like maybe it doesn't sound like it. Maybe it sounds way more simpler. Way more simpler. Maybe it sounds somewhat simpler. But that is more complicated rhythm for me to play. And so I don't have the same relationship I once did with as I once did did. Because it's just simply not at the apex of my ability. That song used to represent me at my best, me at my most stressed, my most pressed as a musician. And now it's no longer represented by that. When I made Winter Heart, I was actually very proud of that song. Not for not for this bit, and not even necessarily for this part. Not necessarily for that part. It's not a smoke detector. It's a garbage truck. But I wasn't necessarily pressed by those parts. The part that I was pressed by was, and I'm probably gonna mess it up when I play it right now because it's hard for me to play it without the context of the entire song. But I'm gonna try. Wait. I did mess it up, which is good for me. Also, I really apologize about the beeping. It really is Tuesday. It's Tuesday in the cul-de-sac, which is trash day. But the point that I was making is that that was very difficult for me to do at that time because it's how that was supposed to go. That was how that song was supposed to go. Because that is not challenging for me at all. But I was like, what if I, instead of ending on that chord, which is very pretty, what if I ended on this chord, which is a little weirder, wonkier, maybe not as pretty, maybe a little sadder, meh, one of those. So then I decided to end it on that. And then with that note up there, which is really weird, I wanted to end it on a wonky thing so that I could keep it going. This sounds finished. I was like, I don't want it to be finished, I want to prolong it. How can I prolong it? Maybe by adding a weird chord in there instead of being, it could be like, maybe a little bit more tense. And then I could take the same note and start it all over again. Start the exact progression over again. This progression. This is I'm starting with this note. I would have to go. So, there it is. And I was like, what if I made it go even one step higher than that? So instead of going go higher, I go higher, started from there. And then I could get into the end. I think the garbage truck is done now. I think it's leaving, finally. So we can have a little bit of peace. So when I made Winter Heart, that was me at my apex, at my limit as far as skill, because every single time I played Winter Heart, I could play this in my sleep. But then I would get to that part and I would actually have to pay attention. Closing chord, and so I use that to start the next phrase. to get back up to that original intro chord, which was, but I'm down here. So how do I get from here to here? Again, here to here. I don't have music theory knowledge. I know there's probably loads of really cool jazzy ways to get from here to here, but I don't have those. So I just climbed up. So I go. And look at this, because in the very beginning of the song, I go like this. No, that's the end. My bad. I'm like loaded into trying to end the song, so it goes. So I go. That sounded like an end. That sounded like an end to me in the initial part, but I take that and I run with it. And so for the actual end, I didn't want to end on that note. I wanted to end on this note, which is essentially a completely different chord, which I'm only just now learning because I got that weird book on like music theory. So I'm learning that this chord and this are two different chords. In my brain, the way I see music, and I've seen music for my entire career in music, this and this are the same chord. Also, this and this and this and this and this are all the same chord. But I'm learning now that they're not. I don't want to get into all the weird theoretical like trash that comes with that knowledge. But I start the phrase with that, and I'm ending the song with this, which sounds like a little bit more complicated, pretty. Ooh, that even sounds doper. Hold on. I think I'm gonna end the song like that from now on. Anyways, that's Winter Heart, or at least a more modernized version of Winter Heart. So, I still have to say that my relationships with my songs changed, and that at one point was the pinnacle of my ability in whatever way I was trying to grow. Winter Heart no longer represents any growth or apex of my ability. I'm trying to grow now, so I've left that song behind a little bit, but I do try to hold on to and retain a little bit of awareness of what that song once was to me as a musician, as an artist, as somebody that's trying to grow skill wise. It was a big deal. And so it's still fun for me to play because as I'm playing it, it's almost like walking down memory lane of when that was something that was very difficult for me to play. And when I used to mess up constantly playing that song. So I'm still able to enjoy it with knowledge of what it once was. But it helps that the audience likes that song. The audience being whoever is streaming my music on SoundCloud, Spotify. I can see numbers and I can tell which tracks people tend to like more than other tracks. Now, is that a foolproof way to understand how your audience is receiving your music? No. There are a lot of factors that aren't necessarily taken into consideration there. I'm looking at Spotify analytics. I'm not looking at Google Play and Apple Music and iTunes and Bandcamp analytics. On top of that, if somebody buys my music, like physically buys my music, they can listen to Winter Heart 8 times a day. I'll never know about it because there's no analytical data for somebody that's listening to my music that they have bought. I can only see streaming digits. So, something to think about. If you are an artist, or if you are an aspiring artist, or if you are somebody that simply likes consuming art but not creating it, know that an artist's relationship to their art matters and it changes. Don't try not to think of artists as just somebody who is making you a donut and they make 9 dozen donuts a day and this is just another product that they're pushing you. I mean, you could think about it as a baker making a bunch of donuts, but I do not have any vinyl available at the moment, Alpha. You could think about a musician as a baker making donuts, but if you do, imagine that they have a very personal and specific and unique relationship with each individual donut, and you consuming the donut, in effect, indirectly alters their relationship to that donut. I mean, if that were the case, I don't know that I'd ever want to actually buy a donut from an artist. A baker. It feels too personal. Anyways, I've spent a lot of this stream talking, so I'm going to run through a few of the original compositions that we've come up with since I started the Morning Medley series. If you're new to the Morning Medley series, or if you're old to the Morning Medley series, what this stream is, I'm doing 100 of them, and I do a lot of improv and development and arrangement and composition within the stream. But I do it under the guise of conversations and a lot of just like little keyboard stabs here and there. And usually whole songs will come out of those ideas. A few of the songs that have come out of the stream are the song Over the Pond, and the song Double Lutz, and the song Over and Under. So, what was the fourth one? We had a fourth one. Oh, the new bridge of Spring Street, which goes. It's really hard for me to remember the specific rhythm it's played in. But that bridge was developed in the stream because the original bridge of Spring Street became the entirety of Hush Hour, which is the song that I close every stream with. This one. The one that was written in Hong Kong. And the reason that I wrote that song in Hong Kong and separated on its own instead of being the bridge of Spring Street is because I felt like it was so pretty and I loved playing it so much that I hated that it was simply a portion of another song that I loved. I was like, why not take that, make it its own full-fledged idea, and then make a new bridge for this song? Which some could say is nitpicking your own bodies of work, but if you make the songs, you are allowed to nitpick them. So, I'm going to do some last minute Q&A, so if you have a question or a comment or something you wanted to talk about, now is the time to bring it up, because I'm going to start going over news. So for news, I did play 2 shows to close out 2019, or I was scheduled to play 2 shows. One of them is played, and the other one is, well, it's not yet played. It's on New Year's Eve. I'm going to be playing in Chinatown. I posted the flyer to that on my Instagram story, but I'll repost it. I'll keep you guys posted on that. As far as music, I do have. You going out for Christmas? No, I'm staying here in Los Angeles for Christmas. I don't think so, Alice, but I appreciate it. Is it Alice? It's Alex. It's not Alice. Thank you for saying that, Alex. That's a really nice thing to say. I don't agree, but I am graciously flattered. Such a nice thing. I have 2 new albums out. One of them is called Quick Breath. The other one is called Ego Death. I worked very hard on these albums, guys. I feel like I have to tell people I worked hard on things, because otherwise people think I am a baker making donuts. And if you are a baker and you make donuts, at some point it has to become a routine. And at no point has my music become routine. I still work really hard on it, and I feel really bad when I mess up. No, me and TJ are just good buddies, good friends of several years now. I have 2 new albums called Quick Breath and Ego Death. They came out this year. If you've heard them, thank you. I really do appreciate it, because that means you took time out of your busy day to listen to something I made in my bedroom. If you haven't taken the time to listen to it, you can find it on Bandcamp, SoundCloud, Spotify, iTunes, Apple Music, Google Play Music, Amazon MP3, Tidal, Groove, Deezer, Pandora, Napster, and YouTube. I don't know if you guys are listening to music on YouTube, but if you are, all the albums are there. And I mean, you're already on YouTube anyway in my stream, so I don't know how hard it would be to tab over. Also, some of my music has music videos on YouTube, so if you wanted a visual aid to Hush Hour, I shot one on my phone, or if you wanted a visual accompaniment to Into Thin Air, I shot one of those on my phone. Both of them are shot in Hong Kong. I was just feeling away while I was there. Hong Kong is a very interesting city, and if you've gone, we need to talk about it. Where can I get your merch if you got any? Ooh, you beat me to it, Alpha. I'm going through the news right now, and yep, up next is merch. Merchandise. I'm currently working on merchandise with somebody that I like a lot as far as a designer. However, it is the holidays, and he sent me a demo of it. I decided I like the demo. We still have to do rough designs, and it is the holidays, so I'm kind of giving them a break. I'm not bothering them a lot because, Christmas, New Year's, let them do their thing. So we're probably going to get hot on it in 2020. So there isn't going to be any merch this year. There will be merch next year, though, and I will keep you guys updated on it, as I usually do in every morning medley. Was it being black in Hong Kong, says Alpha. My cousin went, and he got stared down a lot. Well, I think you're going to get stared down if you're different anywhere, right? You're going to get stared down if you go anywhere where you are different. This isn't simply true with Hong Kong. This is true with even most white places. If you go to Sweden, probably gonna get stared down a lot. Honestly, I get stared down a lot going to Arizona. I don't know how familiar you are with Arizona or with any of the southwestern states, but Arizona has a pretty large group of black people. There is a black community, but if you leave that black community and go into a white one, you're probably gonna get looked at funny, especially if you're in a, let's say, more affluent neighborhood. So, did I get stared down quite a bit in Hong Kong? Depending on where I was. If you're in the airport, probably not, because there's a lot of foreigners roaming about the airport. If you're in the city center, yeah, probably not getting a lot of stares. But if you go off the beaten path, where people aren't, very used to English, or people with dark skin, yeah, you're probably going to get looked at a lot if you're different in a place. And believe you me, I am different in Hong Kong, as was your friend. So, yeah, you get stared at a little bit. So we went over songs. I have 2 new albums out. We went over shows. I'm playing on New Year's Eve. We went over merch. I will have merch available next year. And the last 4th bit of news is always about the stream. What is the state of the stream? Well, this is 41, Morning Medley 41. We're only doing 100 of these, so we're almost halfway there. This is just a stream for Q&A and mostly for developmental skill and arrangement for myself, not necessarily for anybody else. This is I'm not trying to teach anybody anything. This is more so for me to keep my my hands unrested, I guess. I don't practice. Um, I don't practice. So this stream is kind of my daily practice. Blessing says any tour plans next year. There are no tour plans next year, but I go on tour every year. So I think that it's not implausible to say that I'm going to go on tour next year. But when you say plans, what I take that to mean is, am I talking to venues? Do I have a tour writer done out yet? Do I have my tech writer done out yet? Is there a booking agent contact with that? All that stuff? No, doesn't exist right now. There's a few reasons for that. One of the main reasons is I don't have any new music out. I released new music this year and I went on tour this year. I would I'm one of those artists, one of those annoying artists that if I'm going to be leaving and playing several shows, I like to have new music to play for those people. I don't want to play just the same old tracks over and over and over. So there's no point in me going out and playing a significant amount of shows if I don't have a significant amount of music to share with people that is new. So no, there are no tour plans right now on Christmas Eve of 2019 for 2020. Wowie. Sorry, got distracted by the truck outside. But that is all four pieces of news. Two new albums out. I'm playing a show on New Year's Eve. I'm releasing merch in 2020. And the streams, oh, I didn't get to the streams. The streams happen here on YouTube. They're every weekday morning at 9 a.m. They're supposed to be an hour long. Right now, we're at an hour and 7 minutes. So they tend to run a little bit over if news takes up too much time. But yeah, they happen here on YouTube every weekday morning at 9 a.m. Today is morning medley number 41. If you've been any of the ones previous to now, I thank you. This song that I'm going to play right now is the closing song of the stream, and it's called Hush Hour, and it's one of the songs I talked about that I wrote while I was in Hong Kong. Um, Thank you everybody for being respectful to each other and polite to me. I switched it up that time. It's usually respectful and polite to each other, but no worries if you didn't know that. Thank you for being respectful to me and polite to each other on this. Ooh, that's a beautiful chord. On this Tuesday, Christmas Eve. I will be streaming tomorrow because I'm not going to be doing anything for Christmas. It's not really my time. It's not really my holiday. So if you aren't here and you are enjoying your time with your family, I'm glad. But if you're here because you have nothing better to do, or maybe you're joining the stream with your family, I'll see you guys on Christmas. All right, everybody. Hello.